So you look up on Google right now, and I want you to type in NBA player that believes he can beat Jon Jones, and guess who pops up? None other than James Johnson. Says something to the effect of, one NBA player believes he could beat UFC heavyweight champion Jon Jones in a mixed martial arts bout. NBA star James Johnson recently spoke on the NBA Rookie Life podcast, where he talked about his own combat sports experience. So, I've heard about a few NBA players, and I don't know if this is the same exact one, and I'm also going to tell you about my own experience training with one NBA former player who's retired, Kenny Thomas, and then a friend of mine who played for Sac State and got into mixed martial arts fighting. Because it all relates to this, to try to understand this whole situation, right? Now, recently, if you guys saw, I was in a podcast with this guy named Matt Spear, right? Matt Spear is what you would consider a conservative voice on the online community. And I came in there and did some talk considering that, hey, let's face it, MMA has a huge right-wing fan base. And by the way, this relates to all of this too, because you would imagine that the NBA, being that it's this quote-unquote super soy organization of a thing, being that they are somewhat complicit in China's war crimes and things of that nature in ways of not speaking out on it, right? And then you have this MMA right-wing fan base that just goes against everything that the NBA and a woke culture stand for. But nonetheless, yeah, I got in that show and did a little bit of a talk. We talked about the possible civil war that could go on in America. We talked about what was the hottest theater in terms of world conflict when it came to, let's say, the post 9/11 world. And now it came into the world after Trump and how Trump is going to do in the elections. So a little different ways of diversifying my repertoire and rapport with other podcasters and different viewpoints, and on top of that, just networking in general. But nonetheless, let's go into Jon Jones and James Johnson, where he says that in 1 year he could beat Jon Jones in a mixed martial arts bout. And by the way, Jon Jones being the number one heavyweight in the UFC right now, and for a long time was the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world, while he was the light heavyweight champion at 205. Now moving into a new weight class with his new venture in life. And yeah, so this is Jon Jones in a nutshell, one of the greatest of all time. James Johnson, nothing more than an NBA rookie, right? Who says that he can beat Jon Jones. Now, is that plausible? And by the way, what I wanted to talk about with the show, going back to the Matt Spear show, it's called The Dumb Show. Don't unfriend me. It's on Facebook if you guys want to check it out. He talks about how he's not a linear type of podcaster. He doesn't go into these narratives where it's just a one-size-fits-all answer when it comes to trying to understand the world. For example, when he goes into Ukraine and the Russian situation, he doesn't just look at Ukraine as just the good guys and Russia as the bad guys. He looks at them both as the bad guys, but then also at the same time, he talks about things that are good in both of them. In other words, he's a very objective, down-the-middle type of podcaster, as I am a down-the-middle, objective combat sports analyst. So the reason why I brought that up is because when we're talking about Jon Jones and James Johnson, it's not a clear-cut answer for several reasons. Number one, you don't know if this fight is even real. But since we like to mash up sports, politics, and combat sports all in one, I figured this is a great video to make about it. So my official prediction right now is that you're going to click like and subscribe on my channel. No, but my other prediction is that this fight with James Johnson would never happen because let's face it, as I've said in the last video, John Jones could possibly retire after the Stipe Miocic fight. So now that he goes out into the sunset, he's never going to have this opportunity. And then James Johnson, you look at the games that they play in the NBA. And by the way, if you guys are wondering, look where I'm at right now. Speaking of the NBA, right here.